Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the studio. I am Joe, and today I'm going to be looking at something that has been swamped with controversy. The Lord of the Rings of Power. Now, we have a lot of issues here on the internet with the nature of the story, but what I'm going to do today is I'm going to look at some of the animation, the video effects, the cinematography for the show, and I'm going to see if it is well crafted or if it's boring. We're going to analyze it. I have experience with indie filmmaking. I've been doing video production work for well over a decade. So we're going to look at it together. So let's go ahead and take a look. All right. I'll throw in a third one just like Matthew McConaughey. So the first thing I want to look at is this picture. Now, Wyatt, he's sitting in the seat. He's manning the desk for me tonight. So say hello, Wyatt.
Hello, Wyatt.
All right. So this is the one thing that I have kind of been holding on to in hopes that this might be the redeeming quality of the show. All right. Now, I have a whole list of ones we're going to go through, and so I'll go through them kind of quickly. Wyatt, before we get started, what was your initial thought for the cinematography work for the show? Just a sigh.
I don't have too much issue with some of the camera work.
Okay.
So, the camera work seems pretty
Standard?
Nothing special.
Okay.
Nothing unique. Cut and dry. Pretty cookie cutter.
Cookie cutter. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and analyze this first one. This first one is kind of simple. It is a sky view. I'm sure there's a lot of animation in here. I know there's a lot of animation in here.
It is very beautiful.
It is very beautiful. The first things I always see in images is leading lines. So obviously we have a leading line here that's vertical, and then it kind of disappears off up here, and so we don't know where it's leading us. We also see a leading line here. So we're really kind of asking the question, what are we supposed to be looking at? And the next couple big leading lines is right here. It brings you right into the center of the image, or almost center, which is really this castle area. It's what is the most highlighted. You see how the sun is hitting all through here on the castle, as well as the side of the mountain. This is one of the brightest parts of the image.
Got them bridges too.
Yeah, the bridges. Are you talking about over here?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. They have the bridges coming in at a distance, but there's actually an S-curve, which is sometimes you don't always hit, but that is a compositional tactic. You got an S-curve with the bridges.
Yeah.
That connects the corner right here, which leads our eye straight back here, right?
Yeah.
So there's a lot going on. You got outer leading lines that points us towards the center. You got little faint ones with streets over here. Even some of these rock faces kind of are hitting at a triangular shape, which kind of makes our tension push inward. So they're doing a good job setting us up for where we should be looking, which is here, and then more specifically here.
My issue with this primarily is this is such a gorgeous still shot.
Absolutely.
Right here. And there's a lot of these in this show, but they almost, it feels like they just throw them in as establishing shots.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah,
It doesn't feel like this castle doesn't feel alive.
True.
They don't, you don't really, looking at it, you don't really see where anything truly is. In the original Peter Jackson movies, we kind of know. And if you didn't get it by looking at this picture, the member berry, the big member berry here.
We're talking about Minas Tirith here.
Member Minas Tirith?
Member Minas Tirith, this front end building.
Woo! That aside, I get it. Numenorians designed
Minas Tirith.
So similar architecture. But the issue is, like, we know kind of the layout of the main hall of Minas Tirith, of kind of the stairs leading up and everything.
Yeah.
none of this. We don't kind of they in the show. They don't give us any kind of perspective.
True, but that is also in the visual storytelling side, not necessarily in the art
Yeah,
side of
true.
things. One other thing, which I'll point out a bunch of times, is we have 3 layers of depth here. We have the front area, which is the city. We have the middle area, which is kind of this yonder hill, and then we have out even further yonder, which are these mountains. So we have 3 layers of depth, which you can almost see kind of gradually gets less and less contrasted, the same way we might see a distance ourselves. And all of that, it might be some practical elements, but a lot of this is probably animated. So I think visually it looks good. I agree with Wyatt. Storytelling wise, we're lacking some here. The next one is this. I honestly, when it comes to this, my gut's like, oh, this looks nice, but if I'm being honest, I don't know where to look except other, because this frame feels unbalanced. You know what I mean?
True.
So you have this huge, heavy tree right here, and then you have these evenly spaced elves that are knelt down, and they're almost acting like pillars that they could be framing up this break in the space to kind of say like, hey, here's the focus of the frame. They got them kind of on a golden ratio third kind of situation. So that all helps. But as far as compositionally, all I see when I see this is like, oh, look, beautiful golden colors. Oh, crap, what is this giant heavy thing on the other side of the frame? You know what I mean?
It doesn't feel in any way uh, natural.
No, this feels like something
Because
you'd see at Disney World.
you get sort of the I don't even know how you would say, the kind of processed material of capes and armor and all of these things that have been forged and created into beautiful pieces of art. Although I don't like the armor, I think it's crap. And then you have this natural tree, and so
Yeah.
what they're trying to tell us is that the elves, in nature, they kind of live in harmony, but there's such a stark contrast. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't feel natural. It's supposed to also feel a little bit, I think, like that half moon kind of
Yeah.
Council of Elrond
Yes.
feel, but they don't give us any kind of depth.
No.
It doesn't feel like there's any depth in this image. Like they're in a half circle. It doesn't feel like it.
Well,
You
yeah,
can see it, but it doesn't. We don't get any kind of scope of how we're supposed to feel about it.
you're right, and maybe a reason why it does feel lacking is because there are only really 2 layers of depth here.
Yeah.
There's just everybody here with the tree, right? If I'm trying to draw out this, so we have all of this. All of this is the first layer, and then the second layer is just a soft sky. Like, where's our third layer that really adds dynamic shots?
If
you know what I mean?
If the camera was, we have this kind of lower
angle.
If you raise that camera up higher,
You could get a little bit of
branches,
maybe some branches coming in, like at the top of the frame,
and then maybe a little bit of background ocean
or mountains or something.
Or whatever's off in the distance.
Yeah, you get that third layer. This reminds me of like a stage production.
Yes.
Or it screams green screen or whatever. You know what I mean?
And I know I'm going to keep calling back to the Peter Jackson movies, but I'm sorry, they're better. Council of Elrond.
Yes.
Feels good because they're in sort of a theater like area. They've got seats, they've got the semicircle, and it blends kind of the modernness of the elves with leaves and things growing over walls, but they're clearly in walls that they created.
Yeah.
This feels like just
they set up camp in nature.
Different worlds.
Yeah.
It's like, let's all go outside for this ceremony.
Yeah.
Feel
that?
Yeah. when your church group is like, all right, everybody, let's all go outside, and everybody's in their suits and nice shoes, and everyone's standing on the
I don't want to
grass.
go outside.
Hmm.
Yeah. Let's go on to the next one. So the first thing I saw I believe this was in the prologue,
Yeah,
the prelude.
the thing at the beginning.
uh, the first thing I look is there is a leading line. Leading lines are meant to be what helps you compositionally visualize it. All right. So the first thing I see is there is like one line, really, and it sticks out. It's this spear here. Okay.
Yeah.
And obviously, this floating individual elf is the main focus.
How do you know
With,
that's an elf?
I think, based on the story of what Galadriel was telling
Oh.
during this period of time, this is Cheeto Dust Land.
Oh, well, I figure elves have long hair. That's kind of how you would, but I guess.
Yeah, you got the short hair elves.
Got them short hair elves.
And then you
elves
have
with quaffs.
So I mean, visually, it's not. This looks like art that would look good. That might look good like in a comic.
It does.
But
It
I
does.
don't
It
know.
looks like a piece of art. And
It looks like a
that's
piece of
about
art in a
it.
comic, but it doesn't. This kind of is hyper stylized to where it doesn't match the rest of the show.
It also
You know what I
doesn't-
mean?
It also, this image by itself doesn't tell us much of a story.
No, like compare this one to this one. This feels
Yeah.
like a city. This feels like a comic book page.
Right. You can't tell what that is up in the, what's burning up there.
No, it looks like
looks
like
kinda
some
like a
kind of
city.
swirling, yeah, like a swirling, I don't know, Carnage Venom character up there. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It looks beautiful artistically. It works. It doesn't match the rest of the show.
It looks like it was AI generated.
Yeah, kind of. Kind of. You're right. It does look AI generated.
Right. There's not much. I mean, I'm sure a lot of work and effort went into this, and
I know it did.
I
And the
wanna
point of this is not to bash on the artist. It's meant to highlight the issues we see, but ultimately respect the art.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
want to give the artists. I want to give artists for this show props, big props. They did beautiful work
They did.
on just even
Color, lighting,
practical
animation,
effects,
everything.
CG. You guys did an amazing job, but it's not your fault.
It's not your fault. Let's just keep appreciating the stuff that looks good. All right. So with this is a really unique look. It's a little bit lower quality. Sorry, I got this off the internet. I do love, and I've said this before, contrasting colors, especially with cold and warm. Right.
Yeah.
So we have all of these very bluish greens and literally like blue toned trees that are all around, and it's kind of to represent like forest at night, right? And then you have these warm hot spots, these little lanterns, or I guess in some way chandeliers that the elves are using outside. And framing wise, this works. You have these chandeliers pointing down at what everyone needs to be looking at, so instantly your eyes go to, okay, what is this that it's pointing at? This table, and then who's at the table, and then we instantly can go to either side of the table. We have, the king elf over here, and you have Durin over here. So it works well compositionally. I have no problems with this. I actually think it was well crafted. I love the mirror effect. On either side you have these. I guess these are elf guards, or are those statues or something? It's hard to tell.
Like statues, perhaps.
Perhaps it was statues. I can't remember from the scene if those were statues or elves guarding around the table.
I want to say about this one again. I think if that camera just came up a little bit, just a little bit, so that we would still get the silhouettes of whoever's in these chairs on our side, but you'd also get the face of Celebrimbor, Elrond, and who I'm guessing is Disa there in the middle. Right? Is that Disa? No. This isn't Eregion.
No, this is not. This is when they're having. Remember when Durin brings up the whole thing about where the table came from?
Yes.
That's what this scene is.
Oh, okay.
All right. Let's go on to the next one. So, yeah, this is close to the beginning of the show. I like this. I wanted to bring this just because, again, contrasting cold colors with warm colors. It's a clear. I love torches or flashlight scenes because it's clear as to where the light motivation is coming from, and it's easy to work with that, especially when you're lighting a scene. So obviously, all of the light that's in this image, the motivated light is coming from the torches, right? So I think it works well. It's simple. It's pretty well crafted, and you got a couple leading. Well, they're sort of leading lines. They kind of are both pointing to the assistant to Galadriel over here, whatever his name
The
was.
assistant to the regional manager.
The assistant to the regional badass.
Assistant to the regional Karen.
Yeah, the Karen. Middle Earth's mama. So we have a few leading lines on the walls. Very simple. There's texture here. There's 3 layers of depth. It kind of falls off from, like, if this was your first layer, as the wall kind of goes back at an angle, you have more depth back here. So it works. It's simple, well crafted. I'm believing I am in this scene. I'm not taken out of it based on what I'm seeing here.
Yeah,
right?
I agree.
And then this one was actually hyper stylistic, but mostly in camera, besides probably what's going really far into the background, which I liked.
Hands.
What now?
Look at those hands.
You hating on her hands?
Gosh.
They're purple. Why are they so purple? Why are they so purple?
That's monstrous.
You talking about her veins here?
The whole hand itself, that looks like Jason Voorhees.
All right, we're hating on her hands for no good reason.
No, look, I get Galadriel's supposed to be 6'4", but this girl is like 5'5". That's the hand of somebody who's 6'4". Good
All right. We got a simple over the shoulder. We have 3 layers of depth. The first one being this. Second layer is our focus. And third layer is all of this beautiful colors and contrasting textures. And I love this. The clearly leading lines kind of creates where we should be going.
Yeah.
It's a clear path straight to this conversation between Elrond and Galadriel.
Not super creative of these designers. Every light is cone shaped.
It's mushrooms.
No, I think every light we've seen in every picture has been cone shaped.
Like triangles?
Yeah. Well, they're all cone shaped.
True. They are cone shaped a bit. It's simple. I like that the lighting is soft. I mean, this is obviously for night. I should have grabbed another shot from this scene so I could see maybe the source of the light is off here somewhere.
I was confused where the light in the middle there between their two heads is. Like, where is that coming from? Another one of these cones?
It might be, or there might be something off screen that I've forgotten.
I see it. It's on his shoulder.
Well, you mean like here?
No, on the other shoulder.
Over here?
Yeah, that light there is causing the one on the tree behind.
Oh, this right here?
I was wondering what was causing the light. You see?
No, I don't see here. Which way are you talking about? Over here?
It's right beside his head.
Over
right
here?
There. Yeah.
Oh, this is the tree.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
I was like, what's causing that light?
Oh, no, that's just a tree. What do you call it? The side of a tree, the tree bark. But the light is consistent. We don't show in this image where the light source is coming from, but we know it is coming from one spot because the side of his neck is getting hit with the same temperature and tone as she's getting hit. It could be a moonshot. I can't remember. This was way at the beginning. I can't remember if this scene showed us a nice wide shot with where that light source was coming from, but I'm sure they probably showed it because I'm not hating too hard on the creative visuals of this story.
Is this the you have not seen what I have seen scene?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
You have not seen. Wait, it might not be actually because I think that scene was during the day.
We may not have seen that scene.
Yeah. So I wanted to bring up this because it's simple. It's a good concept of what a choker shot is. It's where you cut off the top of the head. You don't have any headroom, and you create this nice little triangle with the face at times with a little bit of chin space. Like, you don't want the bottom of the frame to cut off here. If they did that, then it would be completely another member berry for Peter Jackson because he loves doing that. He loves getting his shots this tight.
In the first 2 episodes, they did a ton of Galadriel's eyes close up.
Yeah.
Real close. Just a ton of them. Very reminiscent of Galadriel from the Jackson movies.
Absolutely.
It was always slow-mo. And
Just
it was distracting and annoying. and it was like,
just right here, like a frame like that close. Welcome, Frodo of the Shire. One who has seen the eye. I did a pretty good one. I could do that again.
Was very good.
All right, let's get back to this. I just wanted to throw this in here because a lot of people, especially with the new iPhones coming out and everything, people are like, I want to make my shot look cinematic. And the way that's defined a lot these days is with a lot of depth of field, which this represents. Tons of depth of field as far as a shallow depth of field. And that just creates a big blur effect for everything that's not in focus. And if you want to know how to do that in a nutshell, it has to do with the type of aperture you're working with on your camera, and you want to make that number go small. So like 1.8 or 2.8 or 2 or whatever. The lower number, the more depth of field you'll get. Just a quick tip for people that are curious. But the closer, the better the iPhones get, the more it's going to do that for you. So just give it a few years. The next one is, I have a tempest in me.
There's a tempest in me.
There's a tempest in me. I wanted to bring this one up because this is just a really clear mirrored image. You have kind of this pillar or this frame that they've put her inside of. Mm-hmm. You have these kind of block leading lines that kind of lead towards the frame here. It's clearly, this is the center of everything. It's an authoritative shot. The camera's slightly looking up.
I think you summed up the show. Well done.
Kind of slightly looking up at her, and the scene was she was talking down a flight of steps to someone, but was her going, "There is a tempest in me." You wanted the upshot, you know what I'm saying?
The center of everything.
This is the center of everything. This version of Guy Ladriel.
What? What'd you just say?
I said Guy Ladriel, coined by Nerderotic on YouTube.
I was like, wait, I know that.
Because she's acting more like a dude than a woman
that has
renown.
Gotten around the internet so quick.
He's quick, bro. And then obviously the other part of the mirrored image is, you have a guard standing, and then their spears are mirrored just like on one side, just like if you're looking in a mirror.
That guard said, what if I'm not left-handed?
The only thing that's different is one has a beard and one is clean shaven. Yeah. So it's a simple tactic. Wes Anderson does this kind of stuff a lot. You know what I mean?
True.
You'll see this a lot with hyper stylized films over and over and over and over again. Shows like this, they tend to just throw in a couple here and there. You know what I mean? And then we got two more. We'll do them real quick. This is honestly what I think everyone was most proud of.
Oh, this was beautiful. All of the Moria stuff was really
the Moria stuff shined through, honestly. Like, I think the dwarves as a whole might be my favorite part of the show.
Yeah.
Because the dwarves they're a little bit more interesting on camera, even if they're not saying anything of importance. They have energy, which is nice.
I know a lot of people were talking about, there's been all this talk about racist, criticizing the show and being called racist. But a lot of people said that, Disa is one of their favorite characters.
Honestly,
she's energetic. She's, brings a lot of life to every scene that she's in.
She speaks with her eyes.
I don't complain too much about her scenes.
Which she was the biggest controversy at the beginning before the show was out.
Nobody had
give
even
her a
said
beard.
anything,
Sure, I don't care. Out of all the trash we're seeing, she's the least offending. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Her and Duran are the least offenders of what's going on with this show. But I like this. There's so much depth, and you feel the depth, which is what was important with this shot. Everything, it falls off. You have this nice kind of contrast, heavy contrast with them, and then the contrast gets a little bit more faded, and then you can kind of see this is like awesome fog from the waterfall that's right behind them. You have these leading lines this way and this way and this way.
You just sort of follow the
frame
bridges up into the distance.
Yeah, it just keeps going, just all the way up into there, and it's beautiful. I don't think I see an S curve, but I do see. I mean, there are leading lines all over because they're harsh, bulky lines here. And I love the pops of green to really show like, hey, there's life down here. It's not just a bunch of dwarves and a bunch of stone walls. It's like they have gardens, they have stuff. They're thriving, you know what I mean? And it felt nice. It felt good. I honestly had no problems with this shot. This shot actually was done super well by the creators, the creatives of the show. The last one is this one. I wanted to show this because this is just another cool authority shot, and I wanted to end with the dwarves because I said those are that's the best part. I like this because we have a nice authority shot because this whole scene was built around who's in charge in this situation. You know what I mean? And then you have a nice leading line straight up to Durin's hand, which in some ways is not doesn't mean a whole lot, but at the same time he is using his arms, his hands, his strength to show who is in charge in this scene by doing the whole rock breaking.
He got them King Charles fingers.
He got them chubs. Oh, you got to be hating on King Charles. No, come on, man. Hating on King Charles. Bro, and then I like the contrast of this dark, kind of cold side to this nice torch on this other side.
And it also follows, the axe kind of follows up the shaft of the axe to his hand, his beard, and which really nicely outlines his face into his hair.
Yeah. Yeah, I see that.
Lollipop gang.
Yeah, definitely. And also another motivating, just the reason they got so low is not just to establish authority, but also to show really who's in charge of the dwarves. Because see how much lower all these other dwarves are compared to him in the frame. You know what I mean? Like they're on the same plane and he is so much higher above them. So framing wise, also 3 layers. It may look like 1 or 2, but you got the back wall and then you have the dwarves, right? All of the dwarves. And then you have this little thing where they place in front of the shot, which that is a good way to utilize 3 layers of depth on the fly. If you're going to shoot something like this, and you can just kind of scoot over a little bit and get like a leaf or get like the side of a wall or something that even can be out of focus but is just creating this extra layer of something there, that's what you want.
Yeah.
3 layers of depth, ladies and gentlemen. Always give the people 3 layers of depth or you're going to end up looking like this. Going to feel like you're on a stage with a green screen behind you, and you don't want to do that. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really appreciate your time. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and let me know what you're thinking of The Lord of the Rings, The Rings of Power up to this point. Love ya. See you in the next time. The video.